Hello, hello, hello.
Good morning. Good
Well-
morning.
Welcome back to another Work in Progress podcast.
Just wanted to say that we are the number one reselling podcast according to Kaylee. So
Oh, yeah, true.
yeah, I'm
Dude,
just putting it out there. She puts it number one, I believe. So
Hanley got like
to fix that. That's what she
bad,
needs to do.
like bad bitch businesswoman, and we got they're casual and honest.
I was gonna say, it was my favorite bit was like, yeah, this is like normal day-to-day stuff, and then Hanley and Sam was like, yeah, this one's sick. These ones are wow good. Like, and I'm like, all right, cool, all right, calm down.
I was like, yeah, fair, all right then. But at least we got the shout out though. Appreciate that.
That's it. I'll take it.
How are you all doing this fine Monday morning?
We're the wrong way around. Oh, we're the wrong way around. That's because you turned up.
We fix that live. Oh, I can. Wow.
It's because you were.
Look at me go.
Basically, what it is that I'm on this side now because I normally get here first. But this is probably the only second time that Benji's beaten me to the StreamYard in the morning before. I think so, maybe second.
I have no idea. Okay. Hanny said I have no idea what you people are on.
She's not saying Kaylee's real. Kaylee
you people. She says you people like she doesn't associate with any of us. Like she doesn't like any. She's like you people over there. I don't know what you're talking about. Like that seems like a you problem. Good morning, everyone. Jay, Shells, obviously Tash, Sammy. Is Coco Sammy, right?
I believe so, yes.
She's here for Chris. Fucking hell.
Chris's crash out of the day.
Chris, say that fast.
Chris's crash out.
I can't say it. Chris's crash out. Crash out, Chris.
Yeah, crash out, Chris. To be fair, I'm in a very mellow mood this morning. I'm a little bit more. I'm tired this weekend. To be honest with you, it's been a bit of a mad weekend in general, and I went to my first car boot in weeks.
Why weeks?
Because I was talking to Jay actually in the chat and Jack about this the other evening, maybe on Friday after one of the calls in the group. And I was saying that I've just been a fat, lazy prick essentially for like weeks. I've had the possibility to obviously there has been some weather issues, right? So like the car boots haven't been as frequent. But yeah, in general, like I've just
again.
Frequent.
I'm a plus one.
But yeah, so basically, like the weather's put off a lot, but basically, I've just been fucking hella lazy, like going to car boots and stuff recently. And then on Friday in the evening, I said to Jack, I'm setting my alarm for 4:30 in the morning. I'm getting up and going to a car boot. And Jay said, I'll do the same thing. And then the next day in the group chat, Jay went, I went. Did you go, Chris? I was like, I didn't get up till 8 a.m. Sorry.
Are you still getting up early?
No, I mean, I have been. I'm telling you now. I said this a while ago, but I don't know whether it's that last year. In fact, on my story, like it reminds you on Facebook, like stories and stuff. This time last year, I was going to rainy car boots that were raining, and they were on, and I was still going to them. But for some reason, I think it's I think I've gotten lazy because of how easy my sourcing days are now. So this is something that I've been thinking about quite a lot recently, which is when I was on it, like I was grinding, right? I would be going to car boot at I'd be leaving my house at 5 a.m. I'd be going to a car boot, then I'd drive an hour and a half down to Oxford, right? And then I would do an entire day's sourcing until 5 p.m. and then I would drive 2 hours back, right? And that was a daily occurrence for me whenever there was a car boot on, and a daily occurrence when there wasn't. However, so many things have changed recently. Now there's one overriding factor, which is that the group obviously starts at 6, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to do some of the journeys I would normally do. And I'd have to be back in time. Sometimes there's some prep I need to do for calls and stuff if I'm hosting, etc., right? But that doesn't stop me going out at least 3 times a week, maybe. And I still don't do it. And I think a lot of it's down to the fact that I'm just so comfy on Vinted. It's so easy.
No. Okay, because I understand not going on your like long treks to like Oxford and stuff like that, because realistically you've replaced your charity shop sourcing with Vinted, right?
Yeah.
Obviously it's the car boots that realistically make the difference. Because those are the things you do on top of it or like extra. So it's those not doing those that make probably you should be doing anyway, because you've just swapped one for another, and now the other time slot you did that in is still the same. So I wouldn't say you should be going to charity shops 3 times a week if you're sourcing on Vinted in those 3 times a week. That makes no sense. What I would say though is this is what I was saying. Like, if I don't have to go to car boots, I won't, because they're early. I don't want to.
They're my happy place, although they're early, but they are my happy place. And I just want my crash out for today, right? Is pre-prepared. It's something I've been thinking about. If there is a car boot that starts at a quotation time, right? I fucking hate everybody that goes. If it's like we've got a car boot that's local to us, right? It's 10 minutes around the corner, and on a Sunday, I don't travel the 45 minutes to the car boot that basically opens at 5, but you can turn up whenever the fuck you want, and you're rooting around boots, and it's all great, and it's all fun, and it's all hunky dory. That one I love, but it's a 45-minute drive, so I don't go to that one on Sunday because I've got one that's less than 10-minute drive from my house. The problem is it starts at 7:30, which is not early enough for the people that don't do car boots to do them. So when I'm walking around this car boot and I've got fucking Doris and her mate going, oh, this little bit of fucking incense is incredible. It smells fantastic. And stops dead in front of me as I'm trying to fucking rush through a couple of fucking boot sales. I want to slap the bitch on the back of the head and say, move the fuck out the way, please.
Okay.
So, my unpopular opinion today is, if you're not reselling or running a business or trying to work, fuck out of my way. Let me run through the car boot and get my shit, please. Thank you.
I need you guys to stop encouraging Chris to crash out, because I think it's progressively getting worse. And he needs to stop. Because again, there's no need. Leave him alone.
Jokes aside, the people that walk around car boots at 0 miles an hour having a good old fucking leisurely chat while they're walking their dog, and they've got their lead and the dog's fucked off over there, so I have to fucking go underneath the lead because the dog's all the way over there. I can't walk round it. And then on the left-hand side, they're standing next to the stall having a natter with some fucking lady that they know from the shops that are 4 streets along. Like, it's just fucking stupid. Fuck off out the way. Let me get through. Let me do my thing.
You fuck off out the way. She's enjoying herself and now going about her day. Enjoying.
No, literally. I honestly, genuinely, like, what the fuck are we doing? It genuinely annoys me.
No, it's I think you can't have this. You can't have this one at all. The people that want to get up and enjoy a car boot for a car boot.
No, just that they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be there.
Why not? Why should they not be there?
Because I'm trying to work, man. I'm trying to nip in and out. I'm trying to be nimble. I'm trying to get around everywhere. I'm trying to get all the bargains before everybody else.
You should be able to dodge the stuff. No problem.
But also, I agree with Andy as well. Dogs should be banned. They're genuinely annoying. And it's not the dog's fault, but their owners, unfortunately, dog owners are not responsible 95% of the time.
This is just this is simply dog dependent. Like it's
owner dependent. It's not dog dependent.
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean, because of the owner for the most part. Yeah. It depends on who you got. I think that's the same everywhere, right? I was actually having this debate the other day about small dogs. I feel like people like, this is a complete side note at this point in time, but like small dogs, people don't feel like they have to train, like the Chihuahuas and stuff. They don't feel like they have to train because they're not like a threat in some way, shape, or form. Where compared to, like, you know, if a German Shepherd's out here misbehaving, it's much scarier than and not acceptable for that dog to be barking aggressively and like trying to bite people versus, you know, a Chihuahua that, oh, it's fine because it's small dog. But yeah.
Also, I just want to point out, I cannot give my opinion on trolleys because I will have like 90% of the resellers that use trolleys like unfollow me and not like me anymore.
I personally, okay, if you're going to be in the boat that you should be there and enjoying the car boot for Workin, then trolley should also be beneficial to you.
No.
Yes, because it's simply
no. Listen. If you have a trolley It is the same. It's unfortunately, you know, the irresponsible dog owners we're talking about.
No,
They're the same people that have the trolleys. They're unresponsible trolley owners.
oh, you're thinking of when they just leave it kind of in the middle.
Mate, when I was at Dunton once, right, and I was looking on a rail for some clothing, I turned around, and as I turned around and started to move, there was a trolley sideways around the back of me, and I nearly fell in it because this woman just decided she wanted to stop and look at a stall, had no social awareness about anything, and then just put the trolley behind me. So I turned around to move out the way to go to somewhere else, and I'm falling into a trolley because people that have trolleys.
I'm more starting to think that this is Annie's actually just said exactly what I was about to say. This sounds like your lack of awareness problem.
No.
It sounds like you're taking, oh, I want to be nimble in this, but you can't even coordinate yourself to know what's around you.
No, I'm not expecting.
You're tripping over.
Why should I? I have walked up. No, I'm not having this. I have walked up.
I'm not having this.
I have walked up to the rail, right? I have walked physically up to the rail. I have looked at some clothing. In what world should I expect to turn around and have to look on the floor because somebody's put a trolley behind me? No, I'm not having it.
It's just natural, awareness, and that you have zero survival instincts. That's clearly
the situation. I'm not having it. Genuinely, I'm not having
it. If someone can trap you so easily, then I'd be worried.
I want to vote in the chat. Our should trolleys and chatterboxes be banned from the car boot?
Okay. No.
You're the best.
Let's calm you down.
Okay, coffee's here.
No.
But the point.
No, they shouldn't.
I'm not having this. Is absolute horse manure.
I think you should get a trolley.
I knew Tommy would be no, for God's sake. I know he's got a trolley. Although he uses his trolley to take his parcels to the shop, which is kind of creative. I've never seen anybody do that, but yeah.
No. I used to watch Flippin' Sloth, and he didn't even have a car, so he used to just. Flippin' Sloth was actually incredible, to be honest with you. And I don't know if he does have a car or not now. I think he does. I haven't watched it in ages, but he used to go to the car boots, no car, no anything. I think he used to go to some of mine, and I'd see him with was it Johnny? I want to say Johnny, and he'd get left there. But he'd do all his parcels, everything, go to car boots with no car or anything, and bring back big stuff. And he'd truck it all down to the post office, rain or shine, in his trolley. No excuses, no nothing. I was like, fair play. Like I respect the hustle of just cracking it out like that.
Shelley in the group, right? She doesn't drive, and she takes a trolley. Is it a trolley? Is that what they call them? And she takes that to the car boot, and she picks up loads of stuff, and she takes it on the bus and all sorts.
Yeah, anyone who goes to car boots without a car is fair play.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Unless it's like right next door or something like that. It's fair play to go to a car boot without a trolley, without a car, because that is hard work. Like when I'm carrying around my bags and I've got like one on each shoulder and I'm sweating, like imagine having to carry that home or get that home from there would be my worst nightmare.
So the only lenience that I give towards people with the trolley is the people that are genuinely picking up like everything stuff. But the amount of trolleys that I see around, and they're just chucking like a couple of bags of clothing or some trainers in there, and I'm like, just use an IKEA bag like everybody else and stop getting in everyone's way. That'd be really nice.
Okay, again, this is we got to go back to the situation at hand here. The situation is not the problem. It's not the trolley. It's the owner. The trolley owner is the issue.
And this is my point. The people that turn up to car boots at 7:30, 1:30 in the afternoon, these types of people are frustrating, infuriating, and should not be. They should be banned from car boots.
Breathe.
They should be banned from car boots.
People that are chilling and having a good day out with their having a good time, looking at stuff and trying to get a bargain and buying the stuff that we don't buy, have a great time. You go. Feel free. Anyway.
But apart from that, I've had a great weekend.
Also, my mum on the back of this, it also is like, Chris has been very passionate the last few weeks.
It's because we're hitting the targets of things that really get me riled up about things. And I'm going to bring it to 30 seconds before we started this podcast as well. I was trying to list my items today on eBay from the drafts. Guess what I couldn't do? find out how many I'd highlighted. I had to manually in my brain count how many I'd highlighted because they just removed the feature that tells you how many you've highlighted. So you don't know how many you've highlighted ready for your day. So if you've got a draft bank full of 150 items and you just want to list 20, you have to count them as you highlight them rather than it just tell you in the top corner. It's one of the most idiotic things I've ever seen in my entire life. Why is there not a counter? It used to be there. And that, again, is another 101 of eBay just not doing the right thing.
Do you think they know?
Do you think they know that they're being stupid?
No. Do you think no? Seriously, like, on a chill note, do you think they're actually aware of like when stuff like that disappears or appears? Do you think they've gone, oh yeah, let's remove this? Like, why would they do? Like, sometimes I think they change stuff and it changes other stuff. Or like, for example, if they change it, you always had to count in drafts.
No, it used to be there.
I don't think
I'm adamant that it used to be there. Unless this is what's that effect?
No. But if you go to your active listings, it still does it. If you go to your active listings, I'm pretty sure, because this is the same problem I have with selling similar and stuff. Is if you go to active listings, it counts. If you don't go to active, and if you go to anywhere else, it doesn't count.
The Mandela effect. Thank you, Andy. That's the one. That's the one. I think it genuinely. I
think he's just confused. I'm not going to lie to you. Like if you go to active listings, I've got 5 selected at the top. You can see it. But if you go to anywhere else, it doesn't show it.
No, I'm in my actives and it doesn't show up.
What do you mean?
Oh, it does there. Okay. Right. I am so confident, by the way, that it used to be there on the draft.
Everyone is telling you wrong.
Well, right. Let's ignore me being stupid for a second. Why is it not a thing? Just put it. It's on every other bloody screen. Put it on this one for me.
People that think they're right when they're wrong.
Genuinely, by the way, I genuinely thought that was a thing. So that is definitely.
It's because it is on the active, but it's not on the draft, which is a good point. Like I don't know why.
Yeah. Again, let's ignore me being stupid and just say that
let's not ignore that. Let's not ignore that.
Let's ignore that and just look at the fact that it should be there in the first place. Even eBay are making me feel like I'm going mental.
Yeah, so but it should be. What was I had before you started just decide. I had a pre-planned crash out. I had a train of thought that I wanted to go down that I can't remember for the life of me.
Go on, hit me with it.
I'm trying to remember because you fucking derailed the whole thing. I mean, my point is actually going back to the original thing is obviously when I started to get enough from charity shops to cover what I needed to, I stopped going to car boot sales. And I think that's probably the case for you as well, right? It's like once you've got to a position where you have like a metric in your head or a need, and that's being met, you don't search to go past that a lot of the time. Like especially if it's something that's like uncomfortable, right? So for example, getting up early and like being tired and going out in the cold are not things you want to do, and if you don't need to do them, then you'll avoid them. The same general. I don't know. It's interesting because you need to like keep a need up, like an idea in your head that you need to go.
And realistically, right, like if you're continuing to grow and your plan is to grow further than what you currently are, then you should never be hitting your need anyway. Like I want to go above 20, right? But I can get 20 quite comfortably on Vinted. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't go and get more because then I can move to 25 quicker. So why am I? But I think my issue is that I've told Tasha that I'm not moving from 20 until the end of the year as a minimum. So now I'm like, well, if I buy too much, then that's going to want me to push myself over the edge to go to the next. And I've already said I'm not going to do that for a little bit because I want everything to settle. We're in a position at the moment where we're netting some good money, which is the first time we've netted money realistically since I started, because I've always been gradually moving up and up and up and up until I couldn't. So actually we're in genuinely in a relatively good space, not obviously as good as a lot of people, but for us, we're netting money that we were never netting before. So we're in a pretty good spot. So I'm actually quite relaxed in keeping myself at this level at the moment. So I think the desire to push at this moment in time isn't necessary. However, I have spent the entire weekend fantasizing about my next plan. And we've had many plans, Benji, and I can go into a little bit more if you like.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, maybe not.
What plan? Okay, which one are you thinking of?
I don't know, some wholesale things?
No, we're not that one. This
Oh,
is
you
a
got
whole
a
new.
plan that I don't know about.
Oh, I've got a whole new plan. Well, it's a kind of it's kind of an adaptation of a previous plan, right?
You've had 3 plans in the last week I've spoken to you. Like, stop. Stop. You just said we're netting good money, life's good. Like, stop. Like, genuinely. I think this podcast is turning into a cry for help for you. You need to sort yourself out. Like,
Oh,
you're crashing out every week. You got a new thing, a new inspired thing.
oh,
Every week. Stop.
right. Anyway, we're going to go into it because I'm really passionate. I'm really passionate about this one.
Right. Oh, like all the others.
So I worked out that if we keep netting the same amount of money we are now, within 2 years we'll be able to. No, listen. If we keep netting roughly around the same amount of money, I am going to have enough money to buy the best motorhome that I can buy, pretty much, right? Like that I want to drive and that I want in size. Listen, Benji, before you cry, let me just get it all out. Right. So not only would we be able to get the motorhome, right, but I would also have a considerable amount of money to live for maybe 2 years, right, without having to do anything, which would be blessed for us, right? Have a 2-year break, not really. But my plan is that once I get, so I
can't afford it.
I can't legally leave the home at the moment until 3 years time, because my son's only 15, so he's going to be 18 in the 3 years. So we can wait for him to move. So that's 3 years. So I'm going to have probably close to 1.5 times the amount of money that I need for this beastly motorhome that I'm looking at, right? So my plan is, obviously the listing situation is going to be changing quite frequently over the next 3 years. We don't know where it's going to be at, but there's so many AI tools out there. Like, you could be able to upload 50 items and it'd be done in 4 seconds and we could be done for the day, right? Like, there's so many different variations. So I'm not 100% sure how that looks. However, my plan, if all stays relatively similar, is that me and Tasha would go away in the van, right? We could go traveling for long periods of time. And okay, I can see your face and it's killing me. We could go away for long periods of times. I would hire my daughter. She would come in the morning. She would print all the labels, do the postage, right? Do the pictures that she needs to do, right? Send them wherever they're being sent to do the listings at that point. I don't know, right? Then go to the parcel shop, drop off all the parcels, then collect all the parcels if it all stays the same. And Vinted is still one of the primary reasons that we source from. Then whilst we're traveling, we can just have a couple of laptops and we can be sniping throughout the day, trying to, maybe it might not be 20, maybe it's 15, maybe it's 25, who knows? But we snipe throughout the day whilst we go traveling and enjoy our time, blah, blah, blah. And basically, I just pay my daughter an extraordinarily large amount of money every month, and she just does everything for me, except for the sourcing, because that's the bit that takes the most time in our general field. So realistically, she would be shipping, packing, collecting parcels, doing pictures. And she could probably do all of that in 4 to 5 hours and get paid more than minimum wage. So I think that's a pretty good fair trade-off. And I still get to do all the traveling I need to do and want to do.
I would say you should get paid way more than minimum wage, to be honest with
you. Oh, she will get paid more than minimum wage.
She runs the whole business for the most part. Because you're great, you can buy a load of stuff, but she literally does all the mechanics of it. So I don't know if she ever listens back to these, but make sure you get paid well. Get a lawyer.
She's been watching my YouTube videos because she wants to start doing a little bit of reselling herself at the moment. So yeah, but that's kind of the plan, and I think it's a really, really, really sensible and good one, because I get to do the traveling sooner than I thought I was going to. And also, like, even within the group, right? Like, say for instance, you just take the group aspect. Hopefully, the group's bigger by then, and it'll, we'll have a decent amount of members, etc. We can expand that as well, and then in 3 years' time, I can show people how easy it is to travel. Well, not easy, but like how it is to travel around. I'll be in fucking Luxembourg or something, going around some charity shops, like sourcing, doing whatever I need to do. Oh, it's going to be amazing. And then we can jump on a call, and I'll be sat in Luxembourg, and I'll put some mountains in the back, give you some nice views and stuff, and I'll be like, "Yo, guys, I'm living the dream. You're sat in Runcorn. I don't know. I went with Runcorn. Sorry, Debbie. Shit.
Sorry,
Debbie. Sorry, Prestatyn, because Andrew doesn't mind. You're sat in Prestatyn and I'm in Luxembourg. Look at these mountains, Switzerland, you know. And I'll be like, who's winning? Me. Let's go. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Shells, yes, Harry is living this dream. However, he's not doing it on a consistent basis. He goes off on trips and, you know, he doesn't have kids yet. In 3 or 4 or 5 years, he could have kids, and then his whole life.
I like about that more than anything is like realistic. If you do kind of hand over a lot of the work to your daughter, and she wants to do something like this, then you can kind of it probably turns into a business. It can be like a legacy type business where you actually can. The thing is, I think you'd have to build it past the point, which I hope you would in the next like how many years of just sourcing unvinted and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the overall plan, but the idea is that we would be able to source away. So vintage, if it stayed the same, so if you can get it, so like stuff's coming in, and that's I think that's like the end goal for business. Obviously, hiring your daughter is kind of irrelevant, but you're basically saying, hey, hopefully in a few years I can put myself in a position where I can step away from the business and so much and have other people do the things for me. Yes,
like that's.
But
just,
I'm thinking because
so I'm not. I'm sorry to break to you. That's not groundbreaking. That is just how.
No. But in my brain it is, because I have always thought that I would move on to the next thing. So do the reselling, build up enough cash flow, start another business, build that up, start another business. And that was kind of the way that my thought process was going over the next 17 years before 55, right?
Also
and also last week. But so you throw me off. But I thought that was the way that my life was going to go, and that was the way. But I feel like this one gets me going earlier in terms of the traveling thing. Now, one of two things will happen, right? One is I love it, and I travel all over the world, and I get to enjoy all of these things, and I never want to come home. The other thing that happens is I do it for 10 years. Travel as many places as I feel like I want to go to, then realize I don't really care for it anymore, or I'm too old or fat or whatever it is to do it. And then I come back and I'm still in a position and still got enough knowledge with the eBay and other bits and pieces where I can go full on again for a couple of years and then try and push and make those things happen anyway. So I don't want to be so there's a lot of things that have happened over the last couple of years that have shown me that life is short and it makes it difficult to do these types of things. And some people don't get to experience these types of things. So in my head, I'm trying my best to balance it in a way that makes sense. I don't want to be planning until I'm 55 and then die at 60 or whatever it is, right? Like, so I'm trying to push it forward and I'm trying to work out of a proper way to do it.
I mean, fantastic, right? I think it's going to be so interesting. It's going to be so interesting what the space looks like in 3 to 4 years' time. Because I don't know if it's changed that much in the last 3 to 4 years, right? Like, I don't actually think it has. But generally, we seem to be at some.
Can I just step in very quickly and say that?
I don't want to talk. You go.
No, I just wanted to say that's crazy, considering I think it's changed the most in the last 3 to 4 years than it has in the last 10. But it still hasn't, in my opinion, I'm agreeing with you. Like, it hasn't changed that much, but it's probably changed the most in the last 3 to 4 years that it's ever changed.
So I would say, generally speaking, it's this is what I was gonna say is like a tipping point, kind of. Like, I feel like there's some very big changes, especially in the UK. Like, we've had a competitor come along, but then again, I don't think that's fundamentally changed reselling. Like, I think you could say, for example, the method of the car boots and charity shops has kind of dimmed down a little bit with like the rise of online sniping, and then not only because of sniping, but because people sell their stuff online a bit more, so it's a bit harder to get good quality stuff and so on and so forth. And you can kind of have this roundabout look at it, but like fundamentally, reselling has not really changed in terms of you buy stuff.
The number one change is the margins have slowly started to negate. Like, that's kind of the overall riding change out of everything. We're starting to lower the margins, and that will probably continue. And then you just end up having to do more volume. That's my opinion. Like, over the next 5 to 10 years, the same things will happen, but it'll just mean that we'll get less margins.
I think the margin has lowered, or that's just like, for example, if you go to the car boot sale, I don't think the margin's lowered. Like, I think the margin's the same.
The difference is that sometimes, I mean, from my experience, you go to a car boot sale now, and some people like I saw. Everyone knows that's in any of the videos that I've done in the last 27 or 8 days or whatever, is that I'm selling 700 down fucking North Face gilets, like they're flying out like left, right, and center, right? And a couple of weeks ago, I was at a car boot and a woman wanted 40 for one, and she goes, "Oh, I've got it on Vinted for 40." And I'm like, "Well, that's great, but you're not selling it at a car boot for 40." But she doesn't care because she's quite happy to sit. If it doesn't sell at the car boot for 40, it'll sell on Vinted for 40 probably, right? Also, she'll get a £35 offer. So I do think that, yes, I don't think the margins overall at car boots have reduced, but a lot of the better stuff that is more known to be better is going to be more and more difficult to get because they're selling it on Vinted. Now, we can still buy it off Vinted if they're not pricing it correctly, but then that eats into our margins, and that's what I'm trying to get across.
I think generally, though, like, so the few things that have changed, I think, and will really change. Maybe I don't think it'll be 3 to 4 years. I think it'll be longer than that. But so I think car boots will die off, like in terms of their popularity, because I think our generation, my generation, we're different generations, is more geared towards selling online and being aware of how much things sell for and stuff like that. Like there is people that still love to go to car boots and do sell their stuff, but it's not in the same sense that, oh yeah, we just want to go clear some stuff out. It's almost like hipstery, like bougie, to go to a car boot and sell your stuff. It's like a, thing like that to do, like more of a stylish thing rather than the previous approach, which is like, oh, how am I going to get rid of my stuff and make some money from it? I'll go to the car boot and kind of get rid of some stuff. And I think the more comfortable you get with tech, the more people at the car boots will be aware that, of what they're selling, and they might probably just won't go to car boots in the same way, shape, or form. So I think it will probably be difficult. And I also think, again, like online has changed a lot of that, or how easy it is for people to sell and how comfortable people are selling online now is changed what gets donated, what gets sold, what price it gets sold for. And I think now the biggest change is what Katie was saying is and what you said earlier, is how people are going to list and how that business works and how that's going to run and how that will impact everything else, right? Like in terms of AI making it easy to list, and that all being done for you, and you can just if it really gets to the point where you just throw up a picture and it's all done, then it's going to be a much tougher field, generally speaking. And then outside of that, how that will impact everyone else. Like, if that's how it works and that's how easy it is, then all the other things will therefore diminish again, and there'll be businesses that are buying massive loads of stuff. Like, it will just all shift around, and I think it'd be really, really difficult. But in 3 to 4 years' time, it's interesting because, like I said, in the most has probably changed in the last 3 to 4 years, but it's still not changed fundamentally. But I think we're moving to a place where it really could change fundamentally, and all the things we know to work stop working.
Well, I believe we're with AI and everything at the moment in its current state. I believe we're probably at a position right now in the world where it's going to be the fastest moving from this point on. Maybe give it like another 12 to 24 months if we were being conservative. But after that point, it's going to move so quickly. Like the things that I've seen have been able to be done with AI, and I know that you've worked on that have been able to done with AI, is insane. So realistically, like the skip and the hop, skip, and the jump of what it's going to be able to do in the next 5 years is insane. And I said about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I think when I first started reselling, and within the first 12 months, I started seeing some stuff close down, like charity shops and stuff like that. And I was like, it's always going to be a thing. But I genuinely feel like the high street is already starting to die. So I said about 2 years ago that within 10 years, the high street would be dead. And I don't know what it's like in most people's towns, but we have a town of maybe 300 to 400,000 population at the moment. We have a street that goes right down the middle of the town centre, and there's shops on both sides. But on the one side of there used to be 2 shopping centres, right? And each of those shops used to have 200 to 250 shops inside, maybe less, maybe about 100 to 150 shops in each one, right? One of those, right, is entirely closed off now, is no longer open to the public. And the other one is full, maybe 40% full. And what you're going to see, I think, as we move forward, is that the high street is just generally going to die. And now, again, your generation and the generation that precedes you, essentially, as they get younger, all it's going to be is online, everything. And then as the older generation start to die out in the next like 10 to 15, 20 years, like the people that go now to the town, they're just not going to do it anymore. And it just makes zero sense for you to be basing your entire business off of a like a brick and mortar store, or even if it's just going to charity shop and sourcing, right? Like it'd be insane to me to now go for the next 10 years charity shop. Like when Kelly said, oh, maybe you can't snipe in 3 to 4 years on Vinted. But in 3 to 4 years, we might not be able to go to a charity shop anymore because they might move their entire business online. Like who knows, right? There's so many different things that are going to happen.
So I mean, you're saying that already. Like, yeah, a lot of people like that. And Jay was saying that they've closed down like Cancer Research have closed down 200 shops. I also think that Andy is right though. Like, obviously, the high street won't die; it will just completely change what it's there for. Like, there's some stuff you can't take away from the high street. High street, as we know it, will die, right? Like, it will.
Again, this is something I disagree with, mainly based on the fact that I can. So the high street, as in town centers, will die. You can go to like what are they called, like the parks, like where there's like a business park, right? You can go to like a business park where there's like a Costa and a Sports Direct and the Currys or whatever, right? But the actual town center will start dying unless they have got, like, we've got really nice like Quarry Park, right? It's really beautiful. It's right on the river. There's a couple of coffee shops that are in that area that will still stay open because it's just a nice place to be, regardless of whether it being in the town center. But a lot of the coffee shops are in the town center, and if you're not going to the town center to buy things other than a coffee, you're not going to go there for a coffee because there's nothing there. You'll just go to the Quarry, which is not in the town center, or you'll go to you'll go to a retail park because you don't need to go to the town. If there's a retail park 2 minutes from my house, or I've got to drive 10 minutes to town, try and find somewhere to park, get charged extortionately to park, and then go to a coffee shop and nothing else, I'm just going to go to the bloody place around the corner. Like I get it.
I'm saying it will change. Like it will adapt. That's the realistic. Unless you just think like the whole town center will become like a housing or whatever. But I think realistically it will adapt in some way, shape, or form. Like that's how you view it and how you see it. Like in terms of that's how it will look. But it could just look completely different. In terms, there will be certain things that you'll probably need on that high street to exist, and it will be smaller, and that's what will exist. In terms of like, oh yeah, we just pop for a coffee and like browse the shops that are there. It's like it will look very different. I think coffee shops and stuff like that will exist for quite a while to come. And people, even like some shops have to exist because people love going shopping. Like, people love going out and physically shopping. Even like my generation, younger generations, you'll see them go out. People like that sort of stuff.
It's so low now that it won't make financial viability for the businesses to be around anymore in shopping.
Yeah, but
unless you're in London, which will be a different.
The problem is, again, this is what I'm saying. It will just shrink. Like that, they will cut. For a lot of people, it will become not financially viable. But the people that like are the shops on the high street that people do still want to go to will still thrive in that sort of way. Again, it will look very different. I have no idea, realistically. And we're talking. The title of this podcast was "Facts, Not Feelings," right? And we're talking about how we feel. Like we have no idea what the truth of the matter is and what it will look like. But even on the reselling front, right? Like we feel like it will go a certain way, and the facts of the matter might be completely different when we get there. Either way, reselling won't die. It will just look different. Like I think that's the thing with everything. Like reselling's been a thing for as long as time. Basically every business is based around reselling in some form of capacity. It will just look different. It might become harder. It might become easier. Like God knows. Like the facts of the matter and how we feel about it is interesting. But on the topic, right? I don't know how you felt about like the facts and feelings side of things, because me and you have probably been based on feeling our way through it for quite a while, right? Like, and I think it's interesting because I think facts not feelings implies you shouldn't you should only go off of hard facts. Like you should only what's working. You need to know how everything is. You need to know exactly what's happening. It implies that you shouldn't pay attention to how you feel and stuff like that. But I feel like facts not feelings is more centered around the idea of making emotional decisions, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you are unhappy and then making a business decision to reflect that, or you really like something or really happy about something or overly positive, then you make a business decision to reflect that. And I don't think feelings should be separated from business, because I think you will hear that some of the most successful people, like, they'll talk about gut feelings on stuff. Like, they're people build stuff and innovate on stuff based on the feeling that it will, or the idea, not the fact that it will be beneficial. Although they do go off data, right? You'll look at data, you'll see that there's trends. But people that invent new stuff, like, oh, people are going to want this. Like, they feel like people are going to want. There's no evidence; it hasn't been invented yet, but people feel like people want to want this, and they're some of the people that do the best ever.
So my initial thought was very interesting in my head, at least. So this will be up for discussion, of course, but I believe that we teach, or like when we're talking to somebody who's new into, let's just talk about reselling in general, but it's somebody who's new to reselling. I know, like, our main thing would be, look, stick to the facts, right? You look at an item, if it sells well, then that's a fact. If the sell through is good, that's a fact. If the number is £8 and it sells for 25, 30, that's a fact. Like, those are facts, and that's what you should build your business on when you first start. However, a lot of us start our businesses on feelings. I know I did. A lot of what I bought was vibes, right? But a lot of it was bad. But I also believe that that's one of the best things that I've ever done in terms of the way that we built it, because I learn way quicker by just getting stuff wrong consistently, because I feel like I pay more attention to the things that go wrong than I do that. I think it's a human trait in general, actually, that we focus on the negative side more than the positive. So actually, although we want them to have facts at the start, feelings are probably the way that they're going to learn the fastest. But then if you're a seasoned business owner, right, and you've got like multiple businesses, I believe that they probably work on facts. No, I believe that they probably work on feelings as well, more, because
I have a question. I have a question for the chat. Do we think intuition is based on fact or feeling? Because I think it's interesting you said that, right? So again, you take the people at start, you're like, I disagree that buying on or getting started based on feelings is the best way forward, because you can get yourself into lots and lots of problems, right? Like, I think you kind of earn the spot to buy based on feelings, based on experience. And yes, you learn from your negative experiences, but you'll still make mistakes regardless. Like, if you trying to go on facts, you'll make mistakes on what things are, and the facts aren't always like super clear, right? Like, they're not like 100% cut or dry. But when you're building up, you will the thing that leads to your feelings or intuition about things is based on all the previous facts you've correlated in your head and congregated, and like, therefore you have a feeling. You wouldn't have a feeling there before if you didn't have something in your brain that, like, oh, this reminds me of something good that I've done before, or this reminds me of something that's worked well. This feels like something successful I've had happen before. I feel like that's where intuition comes from, by looking over all your past experience of what has worked as a fact, in your life as a fact has worked, and there you develop your intuition for what you see to be successful and what will work. Especially if you look at the successful business people, they just know. A lot of time you don't need to go and tell them something, because they'll just know based on all the facts that in their brain that they've accumulated over the years. They'll just know. And even if you ask Kaylee, right, about women's clothing, she might not know the facts on it. Generally speaking, she hasn't looked at the facts, but she'll just know if something's good or not based on all the other patterns in her head that have gone on, because of successfully doing things over and over again. So I think intuition itself, or that feeling that successful people have, is not absent of facts. It's just.
But you could argue that the facts of something being bad is just as easy to understand as the facts of something being good. So I can only talk from my experience, but a lot of the stuff that we bought at the start was not good.
Mhm.
and you learn very quickly on the facts that they're not good. So you can do it both ways. You can buy stuff that are really good and then train yourself that way. But I think, especially if you like, I started. I think you did as well. But like, I think starting off as an everything seller and really understanding the nuances within each like category and niche and where you want to go and what you want to do, like that is all trial and error. So I think everything should be trial and error, because the errors are where we've learned the most things, in my opinion. Like that's where you can get definitive answers by failing.
Is that like that's not a feeling though. That again is like factual. Like you've tried these things and like you try all these different things.
You're trialing on feeling, failing, and then using them as facts. So you can do it.
When you're an everything seller, do you think you trialed based on feelings?
Yeah.
Because when I learned about sell-through rate, I was using sell-through rate as soon as I could. I could be wrong about it, but yeah. I was still trying to do the thing that I thought would work. I just didn't understand it, if that makes sense.
This is a very common thing, right? But a lot of people use electronics when they talk about these sorts of things, right? And they go, electronics, you can't go on feelings. It's facts only, because you've got Philips, you've got a DVB 3200. There's no feelings there. You search that number up and it's going to tell you, right? Whereas this Bowden dress might not have the right color, size, pattern, whatever, right? But actually, what everything people are telling you is an absolute fucking lie. Because if you pick up a FreeSat or a Freeview box or anything like that, right? If it's got HDMI on the back, you know it's going to be worth a bit of like it's going to be more valuable than something without a SCART lead, right? I don't need to look at the model number and research it. I just know it's going to be worth more than the ones with a SCART lead. Then you look at it and go, well, is it recordable? Can I record on this, or is it just a freebie box? Oh, I can record shows on this. So therefore, oh, wait a minute, it's a 2 terabyte, not a 1 terabyte. That's going to add more value. So you can go off feelings, but like knowledge, like, you know what I mean? It's the same.
You just went off facts. Those were all facts.
Yeah, but they're feelings on the facts. Like you can still have a feeling about something.
No, they're facts. You're like, I know that the HDMI is more than a SCART lead. I know that recordable is more money than non-recordable. I know as a fact that that 2 terabyte is better than 1 terabyte. Those were all facts.
No, it's feelings, because sometimes it's not brand. Like sometimes you might know that a brand is good, and sometimes you might not know a brand is good, and you can still go off feelings, man. I believe you can.
You apply your facts to get that feeling.
No,
I would also like to just throw out what Tommy said, because it's actually really interesting. I feel like you can hear facts if they're meaningless to your current position in that situation, you don't absorb them or internalize them in the same way and carry them as a gut feeling. I think that's quite cool. 100%, I'm on board with the fact that if you hear, someone can tell you something at any point in time that is 100% true, but if you aren't ready to hear it in whatever position you're in, or it doesn't make sense to you in that time, it ain't gonna matter. Like no one cares. You can do, as a parent, this is the most prominent thing in the world. Facts. You can tell your child over and over again the facts of what you know to be life, and they will ignore you every step of the way until they figure it out themselves, or they get to the point where it makes any sense to them. They'll just ignore you because they're not ready to hear it. But it's interesting that you say it gets carried as a gut feeling. So although you might not be like, oh, you might not have like a breakthrough moment or like a really strong sense of, I understand that now, I agree. You hear it and then you walk away with it and it sits in you somewhere. And you're like, well, I definitely feel like I've heard something about this some point. Or like I'm getting you might feel like it's a feeling about something, but it's based on something you heard in peripheral ages ago that leaves you with that kind of feeling. Which is actually quite a cool way to think about it. I don't know if that is what gut feeling is. I think gut feeling is, to me, is definitely mostly built on previous experience, which that is in a roundabout way. But yeah, I think that's generally how it goes. But what I actually wanted to get into is we've got a lot of people in the group who are numbers people. Like they're spreadsheets, they like the data, they like the analysis. And I do like it, by the way. I actually love the data and I love the analysis of stuff. But I feel like I've never kept track of it. I've never looked like really kept super good analytics of my business, except for what eBay offers me, and and stuff like that. And I think once you get to a certain point in your business, you can't ignore that anymore. Like, it's something I used to. I think I got an argument about it at some point that wouldn't surprise me. But like, I don't like right now. I was like, right now, I don't need to. Like, I'm like everything works, and I was like, I don't have all these different things to account for. Like, like an employee, like this taking this percentage of this, and this taking this percentage of this. I didn't have all of this stuff to account for. But going forward and now looking at it, I feel like I'm definitely going to be in a position where that's going to be 100% necessary to understand my business and be aware of what is happening. And you are probably in more of a position than this than me.
I'm definitely we are definitely in a position right now where we still get the QuickBooks like Bofix spreadsheet that shows you the incomings from each, all of the outgoings, and then it shows you the profit at the end, right? Like it gives you we still get those folders. And that's kind of like a very generic spreadsheet based on the income and the outcome, right? Like that's all it is. But I actually, I mean, yesterday and probably today, I want to actually break down the profit and the knowledge of where the items are selling a little bit more, because, for instance, since yesterday we've got 26 to send out today, right? And then we've got another like 5 or 7 or whatever it is on Vinted. And yesterday we had 28 to send out and 13 on Vinted. And I really want to, like, I see people's in the group, like their spreadsheets, and they can go, on this day 2 weeks ago, I sold this amount of money. It was split between Vinted and eBay. And maybe people don't need to know that, but I'm starting to realize that numbers, like the numbers don't lie, the spreadsheets don't lie. And if you fill them out correctly, then you're going to get a much better understanding. And it's not something I've ever been asked about doing or interested in doing. I think I did it for 2 months at the start of this year and then got really bored of doing it and just stopped.
It's funny though, because in those 2 months, you like were very aware of a lot and also excited to know it. Like you in those months, you were like, oh, this has happened, this happened. I can tell you that this has happened. And you were like, it definitely excited and aware of it, which is again proves it. It's just, I think, making it easy, but also I
can also say as well, like genuinely, like this is probably one of the things, but like I know from Simon's video, and I think after you watch Simon's video, you took a quick look at your income and stuff like that, and you were like, oh, actually, like based on the percentages, like where is the money, right? Like not to like a crazy degree, but like just in general, like. And I think sometimes when you have spreadsheets, it keeps you too honest, and it's like, oh, because right now I'm like, oh yeah, we're netting some cash, like this is going well. But if I did the spreadsheet, I might be looking at it and going, oh, we're not netting as much as I thought we were, or do you know what I mean? Like, because I'm doing it on a very baseline level.
Are you saying that having the spreadsheet, by being too honest, makes you feel a bit pessimistic about it?
Yes, I think there is a potential for that. Now, if you're somebody like John in the chat who talks about spreadsheets, loves spreadsheets, same with Andy, right? They are very analytical and can take those numbers and go, all right, this is where they can be very smart and go, right, this is where I need to improve on this, and this. This is what the spreadsheet shows me, right? I need to do this. Whereas I look at it and I instantly look at the negative number and go, and then I'll just stop doing it.
That's because you're not aware of it, right? If you knew your business was operating like that the whole time, you wouldn't become as like a sad surprise to you. It would be like, oh, I know where my business are. I know how much money I'm pumping out. I know what this vehicle does and how it operates. And therefore everything makes sense. And once you like accept that your business does that, you know how you're going to make money from it, and you know how you have to scale it to hit the numbers you want to, or whatever. I just want to not skip over Kaylee's comments, because this is this going back to the facts and feelings thing. Our brains experience the feelings and emotions first, then use logic and facts to make sense of it. You cannot have feelings, but some people are influenced by them more. So I think this is where the facts and feelings comes in. I think you can have like 100%. You feel like if you are completely emotionless and dead, like you're just a psychopath. But you generally you feel some things about something. It might not be strong. It might not be like the most moving feeling in the world. But I think what you pay attention to and how you like apply the logic after that and try and not do it in a biased way to your feelings is where like business decisions go wrong. Because you can feel something and then quite strongly and then be like, oh, I'm going to make a decision based on this. But if you then look at it and look at the facts of the situation and go, oh, this isn't how I sort of felt it was, or that I can't explain why I want to do this.
Can I just throw something in there though, right? And that is, there's two things that I would throw into this. Number one, if I had the spreadsheet of my business and our business when I was working and then I wanted to go full time to reselling, right? If I had a spreadsheet that showed me all of the figures and all of the numbers, I wouldn't have done what I've done, which means I wouldn't be here now, right? Because I was in no position at all. There was no financial benefit. There was no financial sense that made any sense whatsoever for me to go leave my job and do this full time. At that moment in time, I had no savings. I wasn't making enough money that I was outperforming my other job. Like I wasn't doing any of these things. So in my head, Tasha was more understanding of me leaving based on feeling that I couldn't do it anymore, not that I could do it based on the numbers. So I think I further down the line, I agree that it makes sense. But like at that point of time, there is absolutely no way on God's earth I would have made the jump at that moment in time if I had the facts and the numbers and the spreadsheet. And then another one would have been hiring my brother. It made no financial sense. We've been over it loads of times. But if I had a spreadsheet, I would never have done it. And now I'm in a much better position for doing it. Now, obviously, lots of things are changing with the AI and stuff like that, and blah 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 blah, whatever. But in general, those two decisions would not have been made. Now, would our business be in a better position now? I don't know, and I don't even think our business would be in the same level it is now because I would have probably stayed in work for another year, which would have slowed down the progress even quicker. Like, do you know what I mean? So that's where I get a little bit sort of like I don't know whether they're
because that's not making like. This is where like feelings and facts cross over a bit, right? Is that yes, technically, realistically, you look at some of the really like smart people in here, and they built their savings to a point where they then crossed over and left work at the appropriate time, and that they were completely safe. And factually, it made sense because a lot of time, what you'll hear from people or entrepreneurs online is do not build this up on the side if you want to do it, and then once you've got it to the point where it's like matching your income or like you've got a lot saved up from doing both at the same time, then you're in a position where you can take a financial risk and move into the new sector. Realistically, if you were in a much worse financial position at the time, you shouldn't have done what you did. And the facts would have determined that, and you shouldn't have done that. And it would have probably messed you up if you didn't have the capability to deal with that. But you did, fortunately enough.
That's only because my brain was, I'm going to leave and I'm not going to mess this up because I'm doing it right. Like my brain works in a way that I put myself in flight. It's the fright or flight or whatever it's called, right? Like essentially, I put myself in fright and gone. I'm gonna have to swim against this current at 100 miles an hour for the next 12 months, and I made it work. Whereas some people aren't built that way. They would go, well, I'll just sit and work for another 12 months before I move. But then that slows the progression down, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe it speeds it up on exit. So maybe when you do exit, you can speed up the process, and maybe we'd be in the same position. But you know, I just genuinely think the way that I'm flight or fright. Like I am that guy. I don't.
Not fright or flight.
What is it? Fight. Flight or fight. There you go. I'm the fighter.
I know it's Halloween and all, but like, oh.
I'm the fighter. I'm the guy that needs to have nothing. And I think that's sometimes the way that I perform best.
Again, this is where like the facts. This is what I was going to say. The facts and feelings crossing over. That is a fact in your own brain. Like, although the feeling is super strong, and it might not be a fact that you can't do this anymore or whatever. To you, like the fact has become, this is not something or somewhere I want to be anymore, or doing it in this way. So you make that decision. But I think I think that's where it kind of crosses over. Like technically, it's not a fact, but to you, how you feel about yourself and a fact in your life is you don't want to be in this position anymore, so you're going to do it differently. And again, I do think the smart move is for the most part, but I don't think that's how a lot of people work. I think a lot of people work like you, where they need to not have anything and jump both feet sometimes to get it to work in the way it should, because having that fear and having that no net to fall back on pushes you to perform in a way that you wouldn't otherwise. It's all well and good if you can motivate yourself to do both, right? Like and perform at both levels and push both levels at the same time because you're very motivated or driven or by one thing or another or a goal. But sometimes you need to just jump without the safety net because
I do think as well that there are people out there that do it too early, that don't have. So one thing I would say, my biggest sort of what's the thing when you big yourself up? What's your biggest what's the word, Benji? When you believe in yourself, you're my biggest attribute. So in my opinion, my biggest attribute is grit, determination, and hard work. Like, they're the three things that I've done throughout the last. They weren't a few years ago, but over the last like 4 years, like, I would say that they're the three things that have very, very much matured out of me. And there are some people that don't have those three things to a degree that will make it work. And I understand that having the backup and the monthly like income and all this sort of stuff makes sense. But for me, it was just like, it was undeniable that I was going to get to where I wanted to go in my head, and it still is.
Hey, in your head, it's a fact. I also think, like, again, you said you wouldn't hire your brother because the fact said it doesn't make sense right now. But again, this is another thing where you look at opportunity cost and what it like. Oh, does this make sense in the future? Like, will this benefit me at a later stage? Right now, it's not. You look at the facts and you go, right now, financially, my business is not in the best position to deal with this. But am I going to get this opportunity in the future to do this as easily? And where does my business need to get to based on the facts to accommodate making this decision? So it's why I said I don't think there is not a place for feelings, but again, I think feelings are intuition, and intuition is based on previous facts in your life or previous experiences that have gone one way or the other. So your intuition was, hey, I probably need to hire my brother right now because I don't think I'll get an opportunity like this that makes as much sense in the future, and he might be gone. So I'm going to make this decision now, even though I know factually it's going to hurt.
Yeah. But also, I agree massively with Andrew. Managers use spreadsheets, entrepreneurs don't.
I agree. He's completely wrong.
I don't agree. The amount of, do you know what? And it's funny, right? I don't agree because I see myself in it, right? But my old boss, right, used to be so chill, and like you'd give him all the numbers, and he'd just be like, yeah, whatever. And it just doesn't work.
Why it's wrong is because
I know it's wrong, but it's funny.
No, but the reason why, because the entrepreneur doesn't like to do the spreadsheet a lot of the time, but they have someone who does the spreadsheet because their business needs to know what's going on. Like, they might not do the spreadsheet or know all the numbers, but if they have a guy that knows all the numbers, so they can go ask the guy who knows all the numbers, who's managing the numbers, hey, what's going on? I'm making money, right? Like, this is going well, because they have a feeling it's going well. But realistically, they need to find out if their business is going well. Because if the entrepreneur just went about his day and had no idea what was happening, and that their business crashed out, and even if some of the big entrepreneurs, they know their numbers. Like, some of the most successful people, like, know their numbers to a T. Like, you'll talk to people that have accountants, right? They'll know their business accounting better than the person by a mile, because that's what they know to make their business perform the way they want it to and manipulate it to function how they want it to. But I'd say really good entrepreneurs know the numbers. I just don't think they are the ones that do the spreadsheets. They give it to someone else to do because they got better things to do.
I'm hearing I need to hire somebody to make me a spreadsheet. That's what I'm hearing.
Add it to your brother's list. Hi, John. John, have you considered outsourcing yourself as a spreadsheet? Well, you should become a bookkeeper, isn't it? That's just a whole different job. I was going to see outsource as a spreadsheet specialist, which is literally just bookkeeping. Okay. Would you like to be a spreadsheet specialist? No, probably not. Actually, I don't know. You might like that, to be fair.
I know some people when I worked in my previous job that used to just put stuff into spreadsheets, and it looked like the most mundane thing in the world. I don't think it's just data input, right? Like, it's not, there's not a huge amount of fun there.
Yeah, I mean, I think people love that. I think lots of people love being meticulous, and
we know Andy's got a spreadsheet for pretty much anything and everything. He's probably, I'd argue that I think Andy's got at least 20 spreadsheets.
Yeah,
and again, if you love that sort of thing, then not.
Honestly, you say that I'm making a mega spreadsheet. I think I've got 17 tabs on it. Stuff. How many have I got? One,
I hope you're bringing this to the group so we can have a look through it.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Yes, John. Let's go.
16. I've got 16 tabs on this spreadsheet, and it's like a mega spreadsheet. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see the data it's going to tell me. I need to change it a bit still to what I want it to tell me. But, like, for example, the idea that it can give me, the analytics of platforms and stuff like that is super exciting to see how that is. Again, sometimes this is another argument I had, is that a lot of the time, what do you do with the numbers? Is it just nice to know the numbers, or does it impact business decisions?
I think it would be like, again, I think a lot of it depends on sourcing activity. If you're sourcing, like it's like the same for you, right? You didn't need to know whether eBay was performing because you'd know if eBay was performing. But now you've got Vinted. It's like, well, actually, let me have a look at both of them side by side, and then maybe if you have enough, it's the same with sourcing. If you're if you're buying on Vinted, how many of those things actually hit my metrics? But if you're buying on Vinted car boots and charity shops, then having a spreadsheet to know which one's performing the best, and maybe that doesn't impact your decision, but it at least gives you an understanding of maybe where you could focus or you need to focus more attention on rather than focusing more.
Yeah,
you know, I'm trying to work it out that way.
I think spreadsheets, like their places, like it's all well and good knowing what sells on Vinted and what doesn't. But I think what it does show is things that impact margin are like the biggest thing that a spreadsheet will tell you.
Yeah.
And I think that's when when they become important running like a bigger business, is there's going to be multiple things that impact margin. And if you're not accounting or aware of them all, that's when you get into a bad situation, or you think you're making more money than you are, and you're spending differently, and you're spending based on the fact you're making money that you're actually not even making because you're not accounting for the things that you're like how your margin actually looks. And I think that even on the Vinted, like in terms, right? So you're saying the sourcing side of things. Oh, am I buying at too high a price? Am I getting too comfortable buying at this price? And what does that margin actually look like? Is it giving me what I want?
It's like when we looked at you said you would sometimes buy something for 10 and sell it for 30, right? And you were like, oh, that still gives me this profit. And I'd looked at the numbers like a week before, and I was like, well, actually, it doesn't. You got to knock another 30% off what you thought, because actually, if you promoted this and you do this and then do this, and you take. But by the way, just as a side note, on clothing, it's what, 11.8% fees?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I sold a broken big AV receiver. Now, obviously, we're all not going to get into these big AV receivers, right? But it wasn't broken; it powered on. But I sold it at spares repairs. It sold for £150, £140. Do you know how much money I took of that?
Do I think electronics has got higher or lower fees? I reckon, because I think that the highest fees were like they weren't that much past clothing, but I don't know if electronics is higher. I'm going to say you took 9% or 8% fees.
Right. So I was genuinely baffled when I saw it. Let me just bring it up. So it sold for £140, and my ad fee general was £10, and my transaction fees were £11.38. I thought it was going to be so much more. So I ended up taking from £140. I ended up taking 118, and I genuinely, it's pretty. I genuinely thought I was going to take more money from that deal than I did. Which
more,
is really
you thought you would take more money?
I thought I was going to take more money from it, from £140, but realistically, what I lose £21.46.
Yeah, which in so what? That's 10%. Would you'd lose basically £14 straight away?
Yeah,
and then 6%. So you lose, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That seems about. So what? Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I want to play a game next week. I'm not see if we can. Maybe I'll sort it out. I don't know. But
Benji loves the game,
honestly, I'd love if this podcast got flipped the other way around and Chris's crash out was at the end, preferably.
Yeah, my bad on that one.
That was not a good start. It's not a good intro. But I'm sure it entertain the people somewhat. But lovely. Thank you very much, everyone. Another splendid
next week. Do you know this is like video number 31, I believe.
Is it?
I think it's number 31.
Okay.
I think that's good. We're doing all right.
How long have we actually been going for? I'm trying to think.
Well, you did take like 3 weeks off.
Yeah, but when did we start? Like
February?
February, yeah. That's what I was going to guess. Yeah, hit the like button. Subscribe, please. Thank you. Everyone subscribe. I don't even know if it does much nowadays, but please do it.
I don't. It says 30 videos, but I don't know if this counts as a video. So we could be on 30 videos. But I think that's pretty good. I think we're doing all right, man.
Lovely. We'll have a celebration. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye.